Hey, what's up, everyone? Thank you for tuning in. You are listening to the Shameless podcast. I'm your host, Xavier Madison. So now that the formalities are out of the way, can I kick it? All right, but for real though, here we are, episode 1 of the Shameless podcast. Here I am, Xavier Madison. Excuse me. I'm eating grapes right now. And before I get into anything, I just want to say I came to the conclusion that grapes are the crack of the fruit kingdom. I mean, once you start eating these things, you can't stop. Even if you get like a bad one or something, you just muscle your way through it, you soldier through it. It's just so addictive. So good. I don't know if it's the time of the year. I don't know what season grapes are like in their optimal condition in. But it's summer at the time of recording this. Tail end of summer, August. It's been a long one, so, everything's winding down. Everyone's getting ready to go back to, school if they're in school. And, here we are. So you're probably wondering, why I gave myself this platform, this larger platform to embarrass myself on, make myself more accessible. And, the short answer is because I'm a masochist. I love it. But in all actuality, no one else was giving me the opportunity. No one else was, paving the way for me. So I decided, why not start it myself? And here I am. And yeah, as you can tell by the title, we're going to be talking about a rapper today. Shocker, I know. We're going to talk about a rapper that I happen to like a lot. Someone who is projected to be the next rap superstar. That's what some say. And I'm seeing it. I can really see it. But my opinion is I don't think it will be what we expect. So yeah, in this podcast, we're going to be talking about his career, what he's done in the past, how he got to this point, what he will do in the future, and, the trajectory of his, future. And yeah, basically, I'm going to say what I think of his current standing in the hip-hop community. It's not the same as everyone else. I'm very opinionated on this matter. But, I'll be coming in with the facts, I'll be coming in with the sources. Don't worry, I won't just be ranting. But yeah, with no further ado, let's get into it. I also want to say, despite my love for these grapes, I will not be chewing in the microphone the whole time, This isn't some ASMR type thing, so don't worry about that. And I also want to preface this, by saying I am by no means an expert. I'm a young guy. I am just giving, my perspective on the hip-hop community because everyone else is doing it, and why not? What is there to lose? And I value my perspective. I think it's worth something. So I think, you'll learn a thing or two listening. And you could also teach me a thing or two, Hit me on Twitter, Instagram at Xavier. That's XAVIEHUR. And you can school me if I get anything wrong, which I probably will. But yeah, let's just go into this. If you cannot read, we are going to be talking about Chance the Rapper today. Chance the Rapper, Chicago rapper, very young guy. He is reaching obscene amounts of fame and success. Something that I expected for him, but did not expect this early. So yeah, everyone seems to be celebrating Chance the Rapper, prematurely. That's what it seems like for me. It's very premature. At this point, I'm not going to say he doesn't have an album out because, he doesn't really have an album out, but he's released at least 2 projects of complete album quality. So, we can see what he's made of. They're labeled mixtapes, but at this point, it's just a nuance. But my main concern with Chance the Rapper is just the rate at which he has developed and continues to develop. No one's really talked about how alarming that is. Not even just for his age, but for his position in the rap community. When acid rap released, music was in a very different place, and it wasn't even that long ago. 2013, I believe. And, that was at the dawn of the streaming era, an era that Chance is now the poster child for. And at the time of its release, Drake was just dominating everything. 2013, that was the year of Nothing Was the Same. which was then to be followed up by, some crazy singles. Um, and then that whole mixtape. Well, a mixtape the same way Coloring Book is a mixtape, blah, blah, blah. If you're reading this, it's too late, which is another project of complete album quality, especially compared to his recent work. But the point is, at the time, Drake was a massive, massive superstar, and he was a hip hop artist. He was the number one hip hop artist in the game. There was tension with Kendrick Lamar, but Kendrick Lamar was reaching a more conscious audience. Drake still had some credibility in the hip hop community, so Kendrick Lamar wasn't the only quote unquote real rapper at the time. So yeah, that was a very different era we were living in. It was digital, but labels and companies, corporations, they weren't fully embracing streaming in its form. SoundCloud was still the Wild West, and Spotify was in its early days. It wasn't as established as it is now. But the point being that even though it doesn't seem like it was that long ago, to some extent, it was a completely different musical landscape. And I mentioned Drake so much because he plays a huge part in Chance's current status in the community and what he has the potential to be. Because right now, it is clear, we've come to the consensus that we are living in a post-Drake rapscape. And when I say that, I mean post-Drake being the number one rapper in, the game, what people call it, the game, whatever you want to say. And Drake is still a huge pop star. He will always be moving units. Views went like 4 times platinum. And that was after the Meek Mill beef. So sales are obviously not affected. But yeah, if you talk to anyone that has interest in hip hop or music, period, they will tell you that Drake is not. He's not achieving the same artistry he achieved before that whole ghostwriting debacle. So now they're looking for someone to, I guess, sort of crown to king. And the person that everyone's been pointing to recently, and, not just people who are interested in hip hop, these are the fans speaking, this is backed by the numbers. The person everyone's been pointing to is Chance the Rapper. He is immensely popular right now. He is coming off of a complete victory lap of his Coloring Book release and the Grammys, and just selling a shitload of 3 hats. And who wouldn't go on a victory lap after that? I mean, he has done amazing things. He got the Grammys to change their own rules to accommodate him, and once you do that, your imprint on music is felt forever. But yeah, Chance the Rapper is poised to be the next superstar. And I'm kind of concerned because I'm not sure we will get the chance that we deserve. And when I say that, I mean the chance that was artistically riskier, in my opinion, was a little more meditative, was a little more down to earth. And that is the acid rap Chance the Rapper. That was the mixtape before Coloring Book, obviously. And, although Coloring Book has been a commercial success, huge success, and a critical success too, don't get me wrong. Critically, it is still, a praised album. No pun intended. It is a much praised album. But thematically, there's been a huge shift. And, if you're not paying attention, the shift isn't huge at all. If you're just a casual fan of hip hop and Chance the Rapper, Coloring Book is just another step of progression in his journey. Because acid rap was a huge step forward, in my opinion, from 10 Day. And that's not to say 10 Day was a bad album, but it was definitely amateur. It sounded amateur, as great as it was. The production, his flows, everything sounded a lot more amateur than it was on acid rap. And then all of a sudden, it was like, he took the same steroids Lil Wayne took when he, made acid rap. That was just such an amazing piece of work at the time that, living in it, as young as I was, it still felt like, hip hop, and everyone just kind of froze for a second to, really feel the magnitude of this guy's presence. And ever since then, he has been a powerful force in hip hop. But my problem with Coloring Book arises with just how blindly faithful it is. And, I'm not going to go into some whole, religion rant, despite what those who, know me in real life might think. I'm not about to digress into a whole, atheist rant, blah, 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 stereotype atheist shit. No, I'm just talking about how it seems like we almost got a different person on Coloring Book as opposed to the chance we had on Acid Rap. And I say this now, having really studied acid rap a lot in the past year or two, just because I am so intrigued with the way Chance the Rapper blew up, especially not being signed. It is just amazing. It's unprecedented in music. Just seeing someone, independent. And I see a lot of people, claiming he's not independent because of his, distribution deal with Apple, that $500,000 they gave him, blah, blah, blah. But for the sake of argument, we are going to say he's an independent artist. And yeah, his ascension has just been remarkable. It's insane. And I think it's happened so fast, so rapidly that it scares me because the last time I saw this happen was with Drake. And granted, it wasn't as quickly as Chance the Rapper is blowing up, but when you get to that point, there's nowhere to go but down. And I say that in a very particular way. So let me explain. I don't think Chance the Rapper, has any ghostwriters, has anyone in a camp churning out lyrics for him. At the absolute most, someone might give him a hook, because he has so much personality, they might give him a hook to say. But, his rapping style, his writing style is so unique, and it's, has so much personality that I don't think anyone is writing for him whatsoever. And if they are, they need to be put in a museum. But, just because he may be more authentic than Drake doesn't mean he's immune to, the troubles, the problems that come when you're at the top. And I say that because recently, this past summer, after he's come off this whole victory lap, it just seems like there has been a lot more pressure on him. And there have been a few incidents where people have caught him slipping. And it doesn't help that his persona in the media has been so polished and just, so clean and prepped up that he's just become the most clean-cut rap superstar ever seen. I mean, he makes Drake look like, a gangster, yo. He makes Drake look like 50 Cent. Because, I mean, if you weren't even into Chance the Rapper prior to Coloring Book, you wouldn't even recognize who he was on Acid Rap, talking about taking Xannies, fucking bitches. And, there's still talk of that in Coloring Book, but it was just so much more brash on Acid Rap, and it was so much more unapologetic. It wasn't reminiscent. It was so in the moment. But yeah, you wouldn't even, see them as the same person with the way he was just unashamedly, I don't even know if that's a word, but just so like shamelessly plugging, shamelessly himself. He didn't seem like a manufactured superstar. And I think that's where my problem arises with him now. He's put himself to such a level that he's making nothing but enemies recently. And when I say that, I'm specifically referencing the MTV News incident and his incident with the Justice League and that Wale tweet that got deleted very quickly. But, to go in order, the MTV News deal that happened with Chance, if you're not familiar, it was essentially just Chance the Rapper responding very poorly, or his management at least, responding very poorly to the slightest bit of criticism by MTV of all outlets, despite what you think, despite how reputable you think MTV is. I don't know if they hold as much weight, if their word holds as much water as it used to. But yeah, his management essentially told MTV, cornered them and told them to take down whatever they had to say that was negative, lest they not be in Chance's good graces. And to me, that just seemed, you know, very unprofessional. And, if you want to go inversely, it seemed almost too professional. It seems like something only a complete superstar, pop star, would do to protect their image. Not really a rap move. Rappers care about their image, now especially, but to bully MTV News about some criticism that wasn't even that deep to begin with is very princessy. And I say that with a lot of respect because, I get what he's trying to do. I get it. But it would be different if Chance the Rapper was, if Coloring Book was his debut, I should say. Because, I risk coming across as a very pretentious fan when I say this. But, this isn't the Chance the Rapper that I fell in love with, because I absolutely fell in love with him and his skills on acid rap. And he just seemed like an actual person to me in that era. He seemed like someone I would want to hang out with, I would want to chill with. And he just seemed so much more human. There was so much more questioning of his faith. There was so much more, so much questioning of everything, the way the world is. There was contradictions, because at the end of the day, that's what we are. We're human beings. We're walking contradictions. There was just so much more human content in that mixtape. And you just cannot see that Chance the Rapper, going to MTV News and shaking them down over an article. And, he couldn't at the time. He probably was not big enough. This is only something he could have gotten away with recently. But, regardless, his whole persona, it didn't even fit that. And to me, the turning point was Surf, his whole social experiment. And ever since then, he has just taken the good guy persona and completely ran with it. And that's not to say I didn't like Surf, but I liked Surf in the same way that I liked Hotline Bling. I like that mixtape because I didn't know what was coming. I didn't know that he would take the themes on that, record, on that album, and just amplify them to almost, hilarious records, just new heights. And I just don't buy into the whole good guy thing, because he's setting himself up to a standard that he can't possibly live up to. And that's especially evident in how some of his fan base is responding to his overtly Christian music. He's getting to Lecrae heights, not actually, but he has become, a lot more ham-fisted in his religion. And he's just setting himself up for failure to me with that. He is just running away from what made him so appealing in the first place. And, stylistically, technically, he has, developed amazingly. He still raps his ass off. Don't get me wrong. Except for on that Young Thug song with Big B's, that was kind of underwhelming. But, that's besides the point. The point being, he can still rap his ass off. But thematically, I don't know if people are trying to hear that. Because I'm not necessarily trying to hear all that shit. I'm not really trying to hear all of that, gospel feel good music 24/7. And I like some gospel, in my rap every now and then. In my music period, I enjoy gospel music, despite my lack of faith. I enjoy gospel music and, how it sounds sonically, especially when you infuse hip hop with it. But, he is making everyone else look so hedonistic. He's making everyone look like heathens that naturally they're going to try to expose him. And, that's what I think the Justice League was trying to do by getting at him on Twitter. And if you don't know, the Justice League essentially outed Chance the Rapper on Twitter for not compensating them for some production, to which Chance responded by saying he compensated the specific producer not the Justice League themselves. He compensated the specific producer because he had some qualms with the Justice League and how they're managing said producer. So, he decided to do some underhand deal, just give him the money up front in cash, something like that. And, I'm all down with that. That's a very, that's a move based purely on principle. That's very not professional, but I would totally do the same thing. But the thing is, he can't do that, with someone with as much money, you know, that he has. He needs to contractually compensate the Justice League. And it just wasn't a good look, period. It just wasn't a good moment for Chance the Rapper. He didn't look like, the good guy, in my opinion, in the situation. I mean, the Justice League didn't look altruistic either. But Chance the Rapper essentially got outed. And this isn't the first time this has happened. People are watching your every move when you're a celebrity. When you're a superstar, they're watching your every move with a magnifying glass. This is very reminiscent of that incident where Chance the Rapper got caught liking some comments, bashing some overweight women, some plus size models on Instagram. And that completely goes against his good guy image. Everyone is welcome at my party, his whole aura. And, he responded by saying he liked it by accident or he got hacked, which I don't believe for a second. I really want to believe it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll say I believe it, but, in my core, deep down as a person, I don't believe that shit for a second. But that doesn't, that never took away from how I felt about him as a person. Everyone's liked some comment online. Everyone has said something, with their boys that, they would never say out in public. And, you just got to be careful in the internet age because what you do does stay there. But, everyone has done or said something that might not have been, the most politically correct thing to do. And that's my point. We're all human. Chance the Rapper is setting himself up to be something more than human. He's setting himself up to be a saint. And it's just not working in his favor because I hate to see him go out like this after Coloring Book because he has so much more potential. He has so much more to bring to the table. And, this problem, I realized that it wasn't just me. I was, noticing this early on. After my first listen of Coloring Book, I noticed something was different. But the fact that, his contemporaries, like Wale, are speaking out about him. And, there's no proof that Wale was speaking about him. But the point being that Wale's tweet could apply to Chance is weight enough. It just shows that everyone else is getting fed up. They're just getting fed up with him just being at this godlike level. Because, regardless of who Wale was referring to in his tweet, the public is running with the narrative that it was Chance the Rapper. And at the end of the day, that's who matters to a rapper's status is the public. The public are the people who took Drake from being a rapper and turned him into a pop star. The public are the ones who determine who's hot and who's not. The public are the reason Lil Yachty will probably not be as relevant next year. The public determines things. The fans have the power as a collective. And when the fans turn on you, you have only a few chances to get things back. You only have a few chances to make things right, no pun intended. But I think Chance the Rapper is, he's really pushing himself. He's really testing the waters with the fans. I'm not liking the way things are going, with him and his PR. And this also plays into, just how young of a guy he is. He is 24, if I believe correctly. At the time of, recording this, he is 24 years old. So he has a lot of room for growth, especially when you consider, one of his contemporaries or, probably a mentor would be a more appropriate word. But someone in his class, Donald Glover, who is 33 years old, who has shown immense growth throughout his career. Chance has, nowhere to go but up. Artistically and stylistically, but in terms of fame and popularity, I think he needs to rebrand himself if he wants to keep growing and not stagnate. Because this whole good guy image, this whole clean cut persona, it stagnates you as an artist because it takes away from your human factor. It makes it so, only a certain group can identify with you, and that certain group is not likable. Chance the Rapper is still a very likable guy, so much personality, but the fans that he is catering to are just they're in a class of their own. But I digress. Um, if you were to ask me right now, do I think that there is still time for Chance the Rapper to kind of come off his pedestal in a little bit? I would say definitely. I'd say he's a very young guy, and Coloring Book could just be seen as a slight divergence in his career. It could just be seen as like a one-off thing. He could go back to his rapping roots, thematically. But yeah, he definitely still has time. I'm not sure what direction exactly he's going in with his next project. I did hear somewhere though that he is going to kind of tone down the religious themes. But hey, man, who knows? At the end of the day, his artistic vision is bigger than what we want as fans. I get it. At the end of the day, he's allowed to do whatever the fuck he wants. Um, this is his life. I'm happy for him. I'm glad to see him succeed. This is his shit. I like what he's doing. But I'm just voicing my concern because I don't want to see him just, blow up in flames because he couldn't live up to a standard that no human can possibly live up to. So yeah, this is coming from a Chance the Rapper fan. Take it how you want to, do whatever you want. I don't care. Spread the word about it though. You know, let my opinion be heard. And come at me if you disagree. You know, you can come at me online, Instagram, Twitter, at Xavier. That's XAVIEHUR. You can come at me in the DMs. You can come at me on the TL and disagree with me all you want. Just don't come at me in person. But yeah, none of this is scripture. None of this is fact. This is all just, off the head top. This is, off the dome. Just what I think of the current situation. But yeah, I'm Xavier Madison, your host of the Shameless Plug podcast. And thank you for listening to this episode about Chance the Rapper.